Hello, my friend. Welcome to today's podcast episode. I'm coming at you today with a little pep talk, and this little pep talk was inspired while I was on a run and has running become my whole personality? Yes, absolutely. And I've learned a lot of things and taken a lot of lessons mentally, physically, emotionally through running, because running for me in the beginning and still kind of isn't that comfortable. It is something outside of my comfort zone. It is not something that I started again while I was a runner in high school and through college, but since having kids and since really being ingrained in fitness culture, it was like cardio, ew, don't do cardio. Cardio is gonna increase your stress hormones, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, why have I been avoiding cardio for so long? But let's get to the pep talk, and then there'll probably be tangents about running, because there's just been a lot of life lessons learned. And that's what these pep talks are for, is just for you to take a little bit of inspo, a little bit of inspiration, and apply it to something that feels sticky in your life right now. So this is something that I learned from Alex Toussaint on Peloton. And you guys, when I go to the gym to do my runs, I often start out with a Peloton guided workout. You can get the Peloton app, even if you don't have a Peloton bike, even if you don't have a Peloton treadmill, you can subscribe to the Peloton app. They have outdoor walks, outdoor runs. You can do what I do and just put my phone on the treadmill and I run the workout through my headphones. And Alex Toussaint and Robin Arzone are my two favorite running Peloton instructors. They are so motivational. And Alex Toussaint is the trainer that I gravitate towards when I need that, like, coaching, like that masculine energy. I treat it as my running coach. I treat it like he is talking to me when he is giving form cues, when he is giving pep talks, when he is giving little nuggets of like the let's go mama, like whenever he says let's go mama, I'm like, he's saying that to me. And I say that to myself, and I take that energy and I take that confidence that he has and I apply it to me. So I'm taking this training very, very seriously, but also in a fun way, because it's not just me getting on the treadmill. I'm using it as a guide. On this run in particular, it was actually a 2000s hip hop run, 30-minute 2000s hip hop run. He said, and said this throughout the whole run, like, find your groove, find your path, then get confidence in that, then go for speed. And that really landed for me. And I have applied that to my running journey. I was even talking to my husband about this last night, where in my running journey, yeah, there are probably some people that are chuckling that I'm taking a 10K so seriously, because 6.2 miles isn't that far. It's not that big of a deal. But when January 1st came around and I was like, I can barely run a mile, 6 is a stretch for me. And I know overarchingly, my goal is to have 10Ks be my challenge, and then refine a 5K and get better at times, and have, go running a 5K be kind of easy peasy, not a big deal. And I know that's my goal. And I think, and I've even talked to a couple friends, you know who you are, about this whole doing things drastically or doing things not at all. So I know this happens in the area that I live, because there's always this huge event in the spring that is a running event, and it's a really great course, and people are like, oh, in January, I'm going to sign up for this half marathon or this full marathon. And they really just don't have a running foundation. And then they do the half marathon and they're very much proud of themselves. But because it was so grueling, because it was so taxing on the body, they are so glad when it's over that they don't maintain or keep going with their habits. And if there is the outcome, like if you're on any health and wellness person's page, they talk about consistency all the time. It's the consistency that's key. It's not training for a half marathon or a marathon one time and you're going to lose all the weight that you've wanted to lose or all the weight that you've gained over the years. It's in consistency. And I know for me, I was like, okay, I know if I were to be so drastic and say like, I'm going to sign up for a half, with the extra weight that I have on my body right now, I would, number one, either injure myself, or as soon as that race was over, I would not want to run again. Like, it would be grueling. It would be so awful. So I'm like, okay, I know, and I feel like a 10K is a stretch and a challenge, something I want to prepare for. And like, I want to show up to that 10K and do like a good job, because could I have just signed up for it and not taken any training seriously and done it? Yes, of course, but same thing. We see people do this all the time in something like 75 hard, where they do 75 hard and it's drastic and it's dramatic. And for some people, they keep going with their healthy habits. Some people give credit to doing something drastic right out the gate. But I would say for the majority, when things are done drastically with an emphasis on getting the speed, getting the results faster, you may see those results, but it doesn't stick. It doesn't land. It doesn't become a lifestyle. And this is very like fitness heavy, but I'm going to circle this on how this I've seen work in ways of business, career, in finances, and many, many other areas of life. I'm just using health and fitness as an example because this was a lesson I learned in my Peloton run. This is also a lesson I've shared with a couple other people where I'm like, why are we doing 75 hard or doing like the bare minimum? Why are we thinking we need to sign up for a half marathon or a marathon instead of first tackling a 5K or a 10K? Because if you tackle that 5K or a 10K and you're like, wow, I did that and now I have a landing to improve upon it. I know that in my area, there's another 10K around what's the end of summer? Labor Day, around Labor Day. So there's a 10K that happens around Memorial Day, and there's a 10K that happens around Labor Day. And I'm like, you know what? If I train for this and I take it seriously and I improve upon it throughout the summer, I know that I'm going to get to the 10K in the spring and feel comfortable and confident, and I'm not going to hate it and be so glad that it's over, that my journey is going to continue into the summer and land around Labor Day when I do another one. And so circling back to the find your groove, he kept saying either find your groove or find your path. Find your thing. Know what it is that you want. Or not necessarily what you want in like 10 years from now, but know that feeling that you want to go after. Know that thing you want to focus on. Then get confident in it. If it's weight training, if some of you are like, I've been a cardio bunny for a long time, Joelle, I need to add strength or I need to work on mobility and flexibility. You first find your path, you get confident in it, then comes speed, then comes the emphasis, then comes the challenge. And everybody wants fast progress, but it truly happens in a foundational way first. I've given the example of health and fitness, and on Patreon, I will do a personal health and fitness update in my weight loss journey because I finally feel like I've cracked the code on what is working for me. So if you're not a Patreon member, just go to patreon.com/living in sync. And it's $5 a month for the exclusive content in there. You get access to all the content that's backlogged. So even if you're like, whatever happened to Joelle's Living in Sync with Your Cycle course, that's in Patreon for $5, my friend. It's insane. But everybody truly wants that fast progress, and it happens in a foundational way. We've talked about it in the scope of weight loss and fitness, but same with my business. You know, when I think back to even the beginning stages of when I was growing and building my network marketing business, I was working things out to find my groove and how I wanted to build my business. And I knew it was always around like matching people with workouts that they really, really loved. And truly, I took that part of the job so seriously until I started listening to what other people were saying and how they were doing things and how they were literally getting crazy amounts of customers from doing things differently. But the more my business grew was when I knew my path and I got confident in it. And then I saw exponential growth. I saw that exponential growth. It was when I took my eyes off of that path and I got off of my groove that I started to see things go backwards. And I can say this, with having to build another business from scratch with podcast production. And honestly, 2 years ago, I didn't even know it was going to be what it is today. I'm going to have some of my podcast clients that are launching their shows in Q1 of 2025 here be guests on my show, because you guys, the caliber of my clients are seriously so next level and they're so amazing that I'm going to have them as a guest on my show to make sure you guys give them some love, because I truly enjoy editing and producing their show. So I fully trust that you guys will love them too. But in my career, in my business, it started foundational, and I found my groove. And when I found my path, like I could have gone a lot of different directions of like, I could teach people how to become a podcast producer. I could teach people how to start their own podcast. And when I was like, no, that's not me. That's not me. That's not for me. I am the person who takes care of it for other people, where they record, I do the rest. Because yeah, they could do all of this on their own. DIYing your podcast isn't that hard, but these people understand bringing in somebody who knows how to do it, that can take care of it, that has a lot of experience and education in this realm, will save them capacity. Like that gives them more capacity to stay in what they love and in their zone. And that's when I was like, that's me. Once I found that groove, I found that path, I got confident in it. That's when I developed a website. That's when I started speaking and creating content in that language of you record, I do the rest. I take care of your podcast for you. So all you have to do is record. I got confident in that. Then the speed came. And also, I've talked about this in previous episodes. My network is the absolute greatest. And I will always give credit where credit is due of my clients referring other people to me, and just like my relationships with them has been so pivotal in that as well. But that's also a foundational thing, because social media business world would say, build an email list, make a freebie, blah, 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 blah. Truly that works, especially when you are in the digital marketing space and whatnot. But for this model and this foundation that I am setting for this business, I'm first finding my groove and I'm getting confident in it. And I'm starting to feel that speed start to pick up, but I still feel like I'm in the foundation of getting confident in it. My husband's career kind of panned out in the same way, where he was in a position and he kind of hit a ceiling and he knew he wanted to switch industries. So when he switched industries, he, quit his job at the place where he had hit a ceiling. And it wasn't like it was another, what do people call it now? Like quantum leap. It wasn't a big growth when he made that change. When he made that change, he started out in a micro position. And oftentimes people were questioning, why would you go from this prestigious position that looked really great on paper to this micro position? Because he knew that he was starting to climb a different staircase. And in order to climb a different staircase, he kind of had to take a few steps down and humble enough to take a few steps down, right? So And then now, he found his path. He's really confident in it. And I truly believe like this next trajectory for him is going to be really incredible, really incredible. I believe that for you too, my friend. And I mean, we could go on about more examples of this when it comes to compounding interest in finances, right? Like you start off small, you start off investing a little bit, but then over time, when you get confident in the plan and the strategy for your finances, then the speed comes and things like really start to compound. So it's not just, I talked about myself, I talked about my husband, but this is not just applicable to us. I bet this has happened in other areas of your life. And so I want to leave this pep talk with you right now for you to think about right now with where you're at. Are you finding your groove? Are you finding your path? And that's okay if it doesn't feel like a quantum leap right now. It feels like a foundation. It feels like a discovery. It feels like I'm going to try this out and see what happens. When you feel like you found it, that's when you focus on leaning into the confidence you have in this area. So right now with running, I've found my groove and I've got, I know what works for me clothing wise. I know what's working for me shoe wise. I know what's, kind of working for me because I didn't even know what a good pace would be for me on a treadmill. I was like, I have no idea. I've been literally walking at 3.0 or 3.5 on a walking pad, which is not the same as a treadmill. So I had no idea. Once I found that groove where I'm like, okay, I know if I want to stretch myself, I'm going to put the treadmill at this number. If I want to just have a good coasting, easy run pace, I now put my treadmill at this number. When you find that groove, you get confident in it, and then comes speed, or then comes the improvement on it. Then comes the growth and the challenge and adding more on, because that's another thing. I'm relating this so much to miles right now, but I hope you're thinking about an area of life where are you right now just starting out on the treadmill and finding your groove, finding your path? Or have you found your groove and you found your path, and right now you got to lean into that confidence. You got to build that confidence muscle mentally and physically so you can stand firm and say I've got this. I know that. I know my stuff. Or are you I've done those two things. I know exactly. Now I can go with speed. Now I can go with emphasis. Now I can push myself a little bit more because I've laid that foundation. I hope this pep talk has supported you in some way. If you loved it, please share with a friend or share it up on social and tag me. If it landed for you in a personal way, always send me a DM on Instagram, and I will talk to you next time, my friend. Bye. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you loved what you heard or you want to share your favorite episode topics, please leave a rating and review. This helps the podcast growth and gives people an idea of what the podcast is all about. Something new and exciting that I wanted to share with you before we go is that we now have a Patreon page. This has replaced the Feminine Edge collective community in a cohesive place that is easier for me to manage and cheaper for you. If you are interested in our monthly classes, exclusive day in the life vlogs, Bible studies, community Q&A, and more, go to patreon.com/livingInSync and join for just $5 a month. Check out the show notes for any links or details of things referenced in today's episode, and I look forward to chatting with you in the next one.